Okay, we have a quick talk before we break for lunch. This talk is meant to be something practical, something tactical. You want to have your pen and paper. I'm going to have you guys doing a lot of writing for this one. Earlier today, it's one of my biggest corrections, and people tell me this all the time. Roy, you talk too fast, slow down. I say I talk fast, so you just need to listen faster. That's how this works. But I think it's great that we're talking about all these things. We're talking about mindset. We're talking about the nutrition, the workouts, the hormones, like all these different things. But how do we practically fit all of this into our life? How many of you guys said there's just not enough 24 hours in a day? Nobody said that? Okay, sweet. We got a couple people. Man, you guys scared me. I'm like, I'm the only one here. We got to X-nay this talk. But we've all said that there's just not enough time in a day. And so, like I said in my first talk, we've worked really hard to build this life that we have. And now we're trying to fit all of this new stuff into our life. And how do we actually make that work? Because it's the number one reason that I hear from people is I didn't have enough time, things start falling apart. How do I practically make this fit into my life? So we're gonna do a little example here. So I have my jar, and this represents the 24 hours you have in a day. Some of us have more things, more commitments than others. Like a few years ago, I got 2 stepkids, and everybody just said, just wait till you have kids and you'll realize how busy you are. And I only have them half the time, and it's crazy insanity how busy it is. And my wife, again, does most of the stuff here. Like, I'm just like mind blown, right? But whether we like it or not, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And another thing before I get into this is people say that they're all or nothing. Has anybody ever said that before? I'm 0 to 100, either I'm all in or I'm not in it at all. And it's just always interesting because I hear that all the time on my consults. And I always ask people, I'm like, all or nothing, huh? Yeah, it's gotta be perfect. When was the last time you brushed your teeth? Well, brushed my teeth today. How often do you brush your teeth? Every day. So if you forgot to brush your teeth this morning, would you say, all or nothing, I'm just gonna wait till Monday to get started again? No, right? You pick it up, it's interesting to me. You talk about, for those of you guys who are parents here, I'm all or nothing. Was there ever a day that you didn't want to be mom or dad? Oh God, these kids are keeping me busy. Or you're sick or not feeling well, but the kids got to go to school. Oh God, you guys just take off of school for the week. I'm all or nothing. I can't be 100% today. No, you still show up for them. For work, has anybody ever showed up to work not feeling their best? Yeah, more times than not. Interesting, because I thought you said you were an all or nothing kind of person. Wouldn't that mean that when you brush your teeth and you miss a day, you would wait till Monday? Doesn't that mean that if there was a day you weren't feeling well, you would just take off of work? But you don't do that with these other things. Why? Because it's a priority. That's the word. Priority just simply means that you're choosing something over something else. And we tend to prioritize all of these other things and never ourselves. And this is the issue we get into of practically trying to fit everything into our life. So we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And we've worked really hard to build our life. This is what the sand represents. It's the mundane stuff. It's the, I gotta go to work. It's the, I gotta drive to and from work. I gotta take care of the kids. I gotta make dinner. You name it, this is the life you've built. So we start pouring this sand into the jar and it starts filling up our day, just like so. And then you've decided, we're going to be the theme today. I decided to get in shape. I'm not happy. We're going to be happier. We're going to do all these things that Tasha and Roy and Dr. Harrison have been teaching us. We're going to start implementing. It's going to be different this time. And so what do? We set some goals, some new priorities. This is the golf balls. Okay, you decide you're going to start working out. You decide you're going to meal prep. You start finding these things that you need to do to be successful, to be long-term happy. And so we start filling our day with these golf balls, okay? These new priorities, these new things that I have to do to get in shape because I'm gonna be happy. And then what ends up happening is, this is exactly what ends up happening. It just doesn't fit. And how many times does this happen? I feel too overwhelmed. It's not the right season. It's not the right time. And things just tend to pour out. And this is where people start falling apart. It doesn't fit into my day, it's not the right time, so on and so forth. I hear these excuses all the time. We have to have a mindset shift. We have to have a perspective shift. So we'll keep this right here. Let's find the new jar. How we're going to do this and how we need to change our priorities and how we're doing things. Because what if the issue we run into is that we say it's a priority until literally, like Tasha was saying, anything else happens. I'm sore today, and then all of a sudden, we stop doing the things because it wasn't really a priority. This is called a lifestyle change. So what if we said this is a priority, this new life is a non-negotiable. I need to start putting myself first. Not that these other things aren't a priority. I hear this all the time from moms. Well, my kids are my priority, right? And just a caveat on that. If your kids are your why, you want to do this, they can't also be your excuse. Got to pick one or the other, right? Either you're setting an example for them or you just don't have time for yourself, right? You can't have both. And so what if we said this is a non-negotiable? We start setting boundaries in our life. We prioritize these things and we fit these goals of working out, these priorities first. And we fit all of the golf balls inside of our day first. Let's see if I can get them all in there. If we do this first, and then we take everything else, the sand, the going to work, the kids, the sports, the meal prep, all the things, and we fit that in second, same amount of sand, same amount of golf balls. Did you look at that? How amazing is that, right? Priority shift, mindset shift, different expectations. Now, I think sand and golf balls is pretty cool, but you're like, how do I make that fit into my life, right? Because I think this is the kind of stuff we see on social media, and you're like, oh my God, that makes sense. I just have to have different priorities. But at the same time, you're also not gonna go to your boss and say, hey, working out's become a priority for me more than work, and my sleep's important, so I'm not gonna wake up any earlier. So instead of coming in to work at 8 a.m., I'm gonna start coming in to work at 10, and I just need you to be okay with that because I need time to work out. It's probably not gonna fly, right? So how do we make this example fit into our life? And to give you a backstory of what I'm about to teach you, I did this, and it absolutely changed my life. And I'm so excited to give it to you guys. And so I was managing gymnastic studios. This was back when I was in college. And we went to a clinic in Cincinnati. And it was a whole business thing of how to build your gym and make this thing successful. And this gym was absolutely phenomenal. It was, to this day, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It had to be 2 football field lengths long. There was probably 6 gymnastic studios in one. You guys can look it up. It's called Kids First, is what it's called. They had a gymnastic studio is how it started. They had basketball courts on the side. They had their own basketball program, their own fitness studio, their own martial arts. They had their own swim school, their own summer camp. They had their own preschool inside this place. That's how massive it was. It was like, it blew my mind that this guy had did this thing. And so he was giving this talk on time management. And looking back on it now, what amazes me more than anything is that he's built this empire and this staff and this business, but he had, and I'm just trying to go off of memory, 4 or 5 kids during all of this. 4 or 5 kids. And the dude was seemingly healthy. Like, he was active, he was able to do things. He wasn't overweight by any means. Like, seemed like a healthy guy. So his health is in check, his marriage is in check, he's taking care of these kids, he's been building this empire. How is he fitting all this in? I have stay-at-home moms who just stay at home with their kids all day and don't work, and they say they don't have enough time because they're so busy with their kids. This guy, like, how does he make it all fit? He just seems to have it all. And so he gets up there talking about time management, and he takes out this little book. And he says, I take this book everywhere I go. This is my calendar. I live by this. This is what I do. And I'm going to teach you what he taught me. Now, he taught this in the frame of the goal being we want to build the business and fit everything into our life. I took this, and I was doing the same. But in college, when I did this, it allowed me to be a full-time student, work full-time, start the business, find time to work out, and semi-manage my friendships and relationships, okay? It absolutely changed my life. So we're going to look at this from the frame of the goal is health and wellness and fitness. So we're just changing the goal. And when I always say this is that your health and wellness, the fitness category of your life, goes into anything. Any aspect of your life, you can switch the goal and look at this from a new frame of mind to say, this is what I want to get better at, and how am I going to fit this? How am I going to fit the golf balls in the sand? Does that make sense where we're at? So it's very important you understand that this is the frame of mind we're looking at. This is the aspect, is the health and wellness. So on your piece of paper, because you guys should all have paper and pen, we are going to go kind of quick through this, but humor me, because if you can just get the framework of what I'm trying to teach you, then you can take it home and really do a deep dive into this. But I want you to think about a typical Monday. It's a typical Monday, a work day, and I want you to start to write down everything you do on a Monday? While you're writing, I'm going to talk through some stuff so you can think about some stuff that you might add. I'm going to give you a second. The big thing is you probably go to work, okay? Well, you also have to drive to and from work. That is something you do. It is an activity. I want you to write that down. We could back it up even before you go to work. What do you do when you wake up? What is the first thing you do? Well, I have to get ready. I have to make breakfast. I have to do my hair. I have to take a shower. All these things, right? If you're being honest with yourself, if you're like me, you wake up and the first thing you do is scroll through social media. Oh, I got to write that down. That's an activity I do, is social media. What do you do when you get home? Well, I got to get the kids from school. I got to take the kids to their sports, right? Think about I got to prep dinner. I got to eat food. There should be so much stuff that you're writing down as you're thinking about what you do from your day to day. Watch Netflix. Watch Love Island. That's the show I highly recommend. Me and my wife binge that. So you're writing all these things down. Okay, I'm going to move on. If you keep thinking of more stuff, that's great. So we think about Monday. We wrote this down. Now I want you to think about what we do typically on a weekly basis. So things like work you do every single day. But maybe you do the laundry on Tuesdays. And so Monday you didn't do laundry, but now you got to add laundry. You can mow the grass on Saturday, so I got to add mowing grass. Maybe you don't work out on Monday, but you work out on Tuesday, so now you can add workout to your list. All these things we can start adding. It's going to go underneath. You're going to start adding more and more and more stuff for what you would typically do in a week. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this is the activity that he took us through. Now, on a new sheet of paper, a blank piece of paper, what I would love for you to do is write the time at the very top left corner. You write the time that you wake up. What time do you wake up? 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m.? What time is that? And then you're going to leave space. You don't need to write it because it'll take too long, but let's say you wake up at 6 a.m. You would leave space for 6:15, 6:30, 6:45. Just leave space, and then you'd write 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. If you have to get a new piece of paper, 3, 4, all the way till when you would go to bed. You write all the hours in a day that you are awake and leave space for 15-minute intervals. Everybody good with that? We're doing that? Okay. Give you guys a second just to catch up. I know there's a lot of numbers to write. Looking at the Monday, you've already written down the stuff that you do typically on a Monday. Now your objective is to take the Monday stuff and put it on your Monday timesheet in 15-minute intervals. How long does it take you to do things? So when I thought, I wake up and I got to take a shower, it's the first thing I do. How long does it take you to take a shower? Some of you guys are like, I don't know. Maybe take 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and block it in there. How long does it take for you to get to work? When you're at work, how long do you work for until you take a break? And when you take a break, what do you do on your breaks? Do you eat a snack? Do you scroll through social media? We just want to fill in all the blank space. And as you're trying to do this, and again, I know I'm moving fairly quick, but you're going to get the idea of this. One of two things is going to happen. One, you're going to say, there's so much blank space on here. Like, what do I even do all day? What do I fit in right here during this time? Or what do I fit in here? And you're going to realize that you have more time on your hands than you think. The other scenario is you might have your whole day packed and already planned out into a T. And you're like, I don't even know how this fits because this overlaps with this and this takes too long and how does this even fit? And I genuinely don't have any time. And to all the people that say that they don't have time, this is a new thing. He didn't say this. This is bonus content. I'll give it to you guys for free. I could, 99% of you guys, have you take out your phones right now and look at your activity level. And between social media and just chit-chat with your friends and family, I could probably find you the time that you say you don't have to work out or to track your food or to do this or to do that or whatever your goal is. I could find you the time right there. And what's interesting is that when I've done this in the past, there's people who 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours a day, and they don't even realize it. I'm like, you could just cut that in half. I'm not even saying you don't need to be on social media or talk to your friends. I'm just saying do half of it and you'd find the time right there. So you're going through this, you're planning out your day. And as you're doing this, you're actually gonna have a couple of these that you end up doing, okay? You have the list of what you think your Monday looks like or what you want your Monday to look like. And then when your Monday comes around, I want you to make a new blank list and actually write down what your Monday actually looks like. And then you can compare the two. This was an absolute game changer for me because I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, my showers take 15 minutes. Turns out I really love to take showers, and it took me 35, 40 minutes some days to take a shower. I'm like, oh, it actually takes me this long to get to work. I thought it took me 40 minutes to get to work. It only took me 25 minutes. You start to realize these things and learn these things in this time management. And what's interesting is that I actually ended up buying a watch. I started timing myself for everything that I did. I got obsessed with this. And I was like, my shower's gotta be 15 minutes, and I gotta run to work, and I gotta do this. And I started optimizing, like I had no blank space on my thing, and I was optimizing every single thing. And you come to find out, and you learn about yourself that you need to plan breaks. Rest is important, and there was diminishing returns on that, right? We have to figure out, and you start to learn these things about yourself. And a lot of people will say, this is tedious. Some of you guys, I'm like, hey, this activity will change your life, and you've chosen not to write anything down, and that's cool, and you're like, don't want to go through these steps, and that's fine. But this is the hard work that a lot of people don't want to do, and they say, I don't have time, I'm not motivated, and they end up in this scenario, okay? And so you're going to learn a lot about yourself, but this is no different than tracking food. It is the data we're trying to acquire. And the more you do it and the longer you do it, the better you're gonna get and the more you're gonna learn about yourself of when are you optimal. Like I know that I'm a morning person. Me and Dr. Harris talk about this all the time. I know that if I'm gonna do some creative work and get this summary event in my talks here, it's gotta be in the morning, right? Because I am almost dead tired from 1 to 3 every single day. You start to learn these things about yourself and when you're gonna do these different activities. Does this make sense to everybody? Is everybody with me on this? But just like people say, tracking my food is so tedious and I don't want to do it. Just like Tasha said, well, do you really want this bad enough? Because if you do this and you tell me you don't have time and I have the solution for you, then why wouldn't we take those steps? This is the hard work. This is the boring work that nobody wants to do. So building out a schedule isn't anything revolutionary. This is not where I end the talk, okay? But this is where he really got me. You've written out your entire Monday and all the things that you typically do. Go back to your original list where you said, these are all the things that I do. And we're gonna label each task A, B, C, and D. I'm gonna explain what each one means. And this is what truly changed the game for me. Because we're all busy. You're gonna go through this list, and A tasks are things that are directly correlated with your goals. We're looking at this in the frame of health and wellness. An A task is directly correlated. This is important because B tasks are indirectly correlated with your goals. They both kind of help, but to give you an example is you decide, I'm gonna get in shape, I'm gonna do this thing. So what do? You go get the gym membership. You say, I don't have the equipment at home, so I'm gonna order a Peloton. Those are B tasks. They're indirectly correlated with your goal because getting the gym membership isn't gonna help you lose weight, but it correlates with you moving in the right direction because now you have the opportunity to do the thing. Some of you guys have Pelotons and gym memberships you don't use. Your Peloton is just an overly priced coat hanger at this point, right? So it's important to know the difference. Actually working out and doing the thing and scheduling that time is an A task because it's directly correlated with what we're trying to accomplish. Then you have C tasks. This is busy work. This is no correlation with your goal. This is like things that we typically have to do, whether you like it or not. It's like going to work. This is driving to and from work, getting your kids to their sports. What's interesting about C tasks and where you're at, it's lunchtime at work. You have to go get lunch. But what you decide, or even dinner would be a better example. Dinner time comes and you're tired, right? Well, if you choose to go get, let's say, Taco Bell or McDonald's, it's a C task, right? Something I have to do, I have to eat. But if you decide I'm gonna cook a healthy meal, some grilled chicken, hit my protein goals, things like that, you took the time to make that meal. It's all of a sudden A task because it directly correlates with your goals. You guys see the shift here of how we're labeling stuff and where it fits? And it's up to you, right? Like you get to decide where these things fit. And then there's D tasks. D tasks are luxury tasks. These as well have no correlation with your goals. But these are things that we actually enjoy and we would want them to be in our schedule. These are things like me and my wife watch Netflix. Like I enjoy doing that. I want that to be my life, but at the same time, it's not gonna help me lose weight. It's not gonna help me get in shape. It's not gonna help me do these things. Does that make sense to everybody? These D tasks, they're luxury tasks. Scrolling through social media, like anything that we might enjoy, that we can fit into our schedule, but just soaks up time. And what's interesting is now that you've labeled your list and you correlate that to what you did in your day, people say, Roy, I'm so busy and I don't have time, but I'm just going 24/7. Why am I not losing weight? And I look at your calendar and it is filled with C and D tasks, and maybe some B tasks. The majority of your day is filled with sand. It's filled with the mundane. It's filled with the stuff. And yeah, you're right. You are busy. You are strung in. You have no room for the golf balls, but it's because you're doing C tasks all the time. And so when we start to look at our day, this should be more empowering than anything, because you have the power to now look at your schedule and say, there's a crap ton of C tasks here. There's a crap ton of D tasks. Where am I going to make the sacrifices? Because we all talk about that it's going to be hard. We all talk about that you're going to have to make sacrifices and make decisions and make choices. And the question is what on your calendar are you going to sacrifice? Because many of you guys, you don't sacrifice the things. You just add on to your already busy schedule. You're adding on a task on top of all of these C tasks you already have, instead of getting rid or cutting out some of the D or C tasks. Does this make sense to you guys? This is where you get so strung out and you're just so busy and you have no energy and you're trying to apply this to your life. But again, and I keep saying this, is that people don't want to do this. They just want to say, I'm too busy. I don't have time. I'm not motivated. But this is the boring work. This is the thing that changed my life. It allowed me to fit everything in and start to prioritize what's really important to me. Because I can look at your schedule and I could probably tell you from the last year of what your schedule looks like, why you are where you are and what you've been prioritizing. Prioritizing is, again, just a decision of what you choose something over something else. This should be, I know tedious, but this is freedom. This is for you to say, I can make time for my kids. And that time becomes so much more precious because this is when I have to fit it in. And we're gonna have family time here. I still get to scroll through social media. It just has to be in this time and it has to be done after I go to the gym because this is the priority. And you start to figure these things out about yourself and how to optimize your day, when to take breaks, when are the times you want to be on social media. Because a lot of you guys are wasting your creative time and the time you could be getting so much stuff done for you, and that time where you're the most optimal, and you're scrolling through social media. When you just need to switch the two things around. When you're tired is when I need to be doing these things, and when I'm optimal is when I need to be pushing myself, going to the gym, doing these things. Does this track with everybody? Does this make sense? I did this for a month straight to collect the data, and I learned more about myself in that month and how to be efficient and how to do the things and to take the action, because then it really just becomes a choice. This is the plan I set for myself, just like no different than pre-tracking your food. You pre-track your food, this is the game plan I set. They brought donuts to work and that's not on my plan, and now I have a choice. I set my schedule, this is when I said I'm gonna work out. I don't want to, but this is the only time I have. Now you have a choice. There's one last thing, okay? Because you'll do this and you'll plan out your weeks at a time, which is really cool because you'll start to realize that a lot of us, we like to procrastinate. You're probably like, no, not me, I don't procrastinate. But there's things that you wait to do at the last second, and that's why we feel so overwhelmed, because it gets to the end of the week and you're trying to fit everything all at once when you should have just did it earlier in the week. So you plan these things out on a weekly basis. You say, actually, I get off of work early this day. If I just did the laundry this day, then that would save me time on this day to get these other things done. Cool? So you plan this out for a week, but the last little thing, you'll label the tasks, you'll have an asterisk. These are critical time crunches. The example he gave when I was at the conference was his assistant had messaged him on Saturday and said, hey, we're out of paper. We need paper to be able to print the stuff by Monday. And so on his schedule, he had to fit in, go get paper on Sunday. And he had to put an asterisk because it's technically a C task. It wasn't helping him grow his business, but it needed to be done. And it was something unique that's not normally there. Relating this to your guys' lives and the moms, this is like when your kid has a big sporting event on a random Thursday and they're getting out of school early and you got to take off of work and you got to fit this in right there. You can't say, hey, school, can we do this Friday instead of Thursday? Like, not going to happen. You can say a D task or a C task because it doesn't correlate with your goals, but it's got to be in there. You put an asterisk and this has to happen. It can't be moved around or wait until the other thing. And so when you put that in there, some of the stuff that don't have asterisks, now you need to move to other days and other times. And you start to learn this. And again, it's hard in the beginning because I'm telling every single one of you guys, it's harder, this is the theme, it's harder than you think, it takes longer than you think. We make this schedule and you're like, this is gonna be how it is. And it almost never works that way. Same thing with nutrition and tracking your food. But over time, you learn so much about yourself and it'll change the game. Does anybody have any questions about this framework? Does this make sense to everybody? Cool. If anybody does this for the next 30 days, let me know how it goes because this changed my life. Is that cool for everybody? Sweet.